So Gin is another one of those characters that I really feel is going to live up to the title of this video. Not that he's downplayed in any sense. A lot of people actually really acknowledge that Gin is one of the more swole characters in the series, but they don't really take the feats that Gin has shown in the series and apply them with context to really just show how much of a just absolute Chad Gin is. Before we begin though, I have my Discord linked in the description as always, but I also have made an amino page over on this Bleach amino where I'm starting to do like polls for different versus matches, because a little known fact about me is I used to run tournaments over on amino, and I'm kind of getting back into doing that. I pop on there every like couple of days, maybe once a week, but I'm still like going over there putting on polls and stuff. So if you want to check that out, if versus matches are kind of your thing, definitely go peep that out. Give me a follow. So Gin really has two pretty impressive fights that actually really boost his character to where he is. The first is the fact that he's able to just completely destroy Ichigo, right? This is an Ichigo that is way stronger than he was even at the beginning of the Hueco Mundo arc. Like, his Bankai is absolutely swole compared to what it was. Not to mention that his holification has also received an enormous amp after his fight with Ulquiorra, and Gin is still able to just completely obliterate this Ichigo. The anime displays Gin's dominance over Ichigo a bit better because it actually has the scene where he just snipes off Ichigo's mask, but even in the manga, as soon as Gin starts using some of his Bankai techniques, Ichigo had to holify to defend himself against them, and even after taking the attacks, his holification immediately wears off to show that it's just that strenuous on him to just block Gin's attack. So he's massively above this Ichigo. And the second, well, quote-unquote fight was against Third Fusion Aizen, where everybody knows that Gin was able to just completely obliterate that Aizen, just kills him outright. And even if you wanted to say that Aizen's guard was down, after the initial hit and after knowing that Gin is now, trying to attack him, Aizen should have had ample time to raise his spiritual pressure to block the poison from Gin's Bankai, so no, he didn't catch him off guard or anything. Plus, there is enough evidence in Bleach to support the fact that even if you're off guard, Iriatsu will still protect you. Pretty much in the Kenpachi fight supports this when he says that his unconscious flow of Ryatsu is stronger than Ichigo's conscious flow of Ryatsu. So no, Gin absolutely just slaughtered that Aizen. Also, it should be noted that Gin wasn't afraid of Aizen's power, more so he was afraid of Kyoka Suigetsu, and that's what he was planning to counter this entire time. He's like, if I want to take out Aizen, I need to figure out how to get around Kyoka Suigetsu. It was never that, oh, I'm not even close to Aizen, so I won't be able to, kill him or anything. The issue was always Kyoka Suigetsu, so that also supports the fact that Gin would be on that Aizen level or even higher. Now, as far as how powerful this would make Gin, we know that he'd be at least Continental Plus just for the fact that he just completely rotted Ichigo, right? But taking out Aizen is far more impressive because he's stronger than Ichigo at that point, even in his third fusion form. However, we don't have any actual multipliers for the different fusions, so we can't accurately 100% say how strong that Aizen is. We know that once he reaches his fourth fusion, he should easily be on those planetary tiers because he's surpassed all the other Shinigami and whatnot. However, that Aizen we really can't exactly pinpoint. You could try to headcanon and say that Gin's moon level or something based on some arbitrary multipliers, but it's a bit difficult to pinpoint exactly how strong that Gin would be. As far as speed goes, dude, Gin is easily FTL plus. I feel like that's irrefutable at this point. Again, in the Kaname video, I brought up a lot of FTL feats that we have in Bleach, but one that I forgot to mention was the Aranyeto one, which I probably should get into a little more some other time because I brought it up in that video, didn't really argue it that hard, but we just have way too many FTL feats in Bleach from far weaker characters. And Gin is so far above these people that just by basic scaling, he would easily be FTL, and you could probably even get him to massively faster than light, but I don't want to get a little too absurd here. And since we're on speed here, let's talk about the whole thing where Gin claps his hands and says, oh, my Bankai's 500 times faster than that, where people try to lowball Gin to 500 times the speed of sound. It's either A, it's more based on how fast Gin himself is clapping, because if you're trying to say that Gin claps at a normal human speed, you got something messed up, and he's saying that his Bankai is 500 times faster than that, or it was just Gin trying to psych out Ichigo just by throwing out some big arbitrary number to throw him off, because he even says in his fight against Aizen that those numbers were wrong, and we can assume at least that he told Aizen the same numbers, the 8 kilometers or 8 miles for his Bankai's length and the 500 times the speed of sound for his Bankai speed. So It's more than likely he's just trying to psych out Ichigo in that fight, because that's kind of Gain's whole shtick here, as he likes to psych out and get in his opponent's head. So let's just get that out of the way first. Speaking of Gain's Zanpakuto, it's pretty basic in both Shikai and Bankai. In Shikai, we know it's able to extend to 100 swords length, and that it could extend pretty quick. In Bankai, well, the numbers he gave us we can assume are wrong, because he tells Aizen that they're wrong, and again, we can assume that he told Aizen the same numbers he told Ichigo. However, what we do know is true is that his Zanpakuto is the fastest, as Gain claims that himself and doesn't, refute it in any way. But again, it's still really basic because it just extends really quick, and his techniques even in Bankai do just go off of this as well, like Buto and Buto Renjin, where he's just extending and retracting his sword really fast. And he does seem to do this also to kind of psych out his opponents as well, like he does with Ichigo, to kind of just freak him out a little bit. But again, his Zanpakuto is just really basic yet really effective. Which is why I'm actually pretty happy that Kubo actually gave him his final Bankai ability, where he's able to leave a piece of his sword inside of his opponent to basically kill them with a really deadly poison. Again, this killed 3rd Fusion Aizen, so this thing is pretty potent, and unless you have some nigh Hogyoku reality warping regeneration, where you can just revive yourself back from the dead, this is pretty much GG. It's game over after he hits you with this. Now, that is all that I have for Gain. However, I've brought this up in my Discord, and I've been thinking about doing a video of talking about what would have happened if Gain was still alive in the series. And I'm going to bring it up now and ask you guys if you'd be interested in seeing something like this before I do the Aizen video next. Because, we're already talking about Gain right now. It's still kind of fresh in everybody's heads. And I would really like to do the video, but I need to see that there's some interest in it. So if you want me to do a video talking about what would have happened if Gain was still alive, and his impact that he would have had in the last arc, go ahead and let me know, because there's still a lot more we could unpack on how Gain would scale to these other characters in the manga. With all that being said though, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Leave a like and subscribe, comment down below your thoughts, and I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Have a nice day. Peace late, guys.